Hey everybody, it's October again, and that can only mean one thing. It's time for Halloween Horror Havoc 2! This year I decided to do something just a little bit different. It is now the middle of October, and for the first 2 weeks I watched 15 different horror films I had never seen before. And several of them were pretty bad stinkers. In fact, a couple of them I even shut off after the first few minutes. So we'll get into those, and then in part 2, at the end of the month toward Halloween, I'm going to review my top 20 favorite horror film series and directors. And that should be a lot more fun, because I'm going to get into my favorites. So let's jump into these movies and throw them on the pile. And some of them are turds that belong on a big pile of crap, I can tell you that. Hey, I moved outside. It's still good weather out here in Southwest Virginia, and it's warm, but not too warm, but not too cold either, not too cool. See, I'm still in short sleeves, so it's nice enough out here. So let's jump into these movies that I reviewed, that I've watched over the last couple of weeks. Now, I can't say I watched all of them. Some of them I did switch off, and the first one I certainly did. The Houses That October Built. Or The Houses October Built. This one was from 2014, and in it, 5 friends went in search of the best haunted houses they could find, and in the process, they unleashed an unknown evil. There was no known cast or director for this movie, and I give this an F-. It sucked. I hated it. I turned it off after the first 20 minutes because I cannot stand found footage movies. I don't like found footage, and I don't like mock documentary style films. And that's what this was. A combination of mock documentary, fake news casts, and found footage. Can't stand it. Don't like it. I know what I said about Frankenstein's Army. I love Frankenstein's Army. It's in my top 20 that I'm going to be doing at the end of the month. But I totally hated The Houses October Built, and I wouldn't waste my time with that again. I don't understand what the appeal of found footage and mock documentary is anymore. I just don't understand why there are so many films out there like that. I wouldn't waste my time with this one ever again. However, I did watch The Visit. M. Night Shyamalan, his new movie, and I hate these found footage mock documentary films, but this one stuck with me, and I liked it. Couldn't help myself. In it, these 2 kids go to visit their grandparents in their farm in rural Pennsylvania, and once the kids arrive, Grandma and Grandpa start acting really weird with some pretty shocking results. Now, say what you will about M. Night Shyamalan. A lot of people say he hasn't made a good movie in years. I agree. He hasn't made a lot of good movies in a long time. I was a little bit partial to The Last Airbender because my kids exposed me to the animated series. I kind of liked it. I'm the one that feels that the last good movie that Shyamalan did prior to The Visit was Signs. A lot of people didn't like Signs. I did. I felt like that was the last good movie that Shyamalan did. However, he made a nice low-budget B-movie here. There's a really good movie in this found footage film. That is the granddaughter making a documentary, wanting to become a filmmaker. And Grandma and Grandpa are just really super weird in this movie. Really worth your time. Playing in theaters still in certain places. Go see it if you haven't seen it yet. Gave it a B+, because it's a B-type film. Next up was Bad Milo. From 2013. And in it, Duncan is under an intense amount of stress, work, life in general, and it's affected his digestive tract in a very severe way. And it gives way to a demon that appears from the worst place a demon could possibly appear from. I'll leave it to you to find out where. This is toilet humor at its worst. Bad CG effects, but I have to admit something. Milo was a little bit cute in it. And Patrick Warburton was in there as well. I like Patrick Warburton as he voices Joe on Family Guy and all the other film roles that he's done out throughout the years. It's messed up. It's low budget weirdness. It kind of reminded me of a film that came out in 1988 called Brain Damage, where a guy gets a parasite in the back of his neck that sends him on psychedelic trips with a weird chemical that it injects into him while he murders people for the parasite. Brain Damage is the superior film to Bad Milo. So if you can find Brain Damage, I have my own copy. I recommend it. Next up, The Curse of Chucky. Come on, people, really. This is a series that's getting a little bit tired and ridiculous. Now, I liked Bride of Chucky. I liked Seed of Chucky. And the reason why was because they didn't take themselves serious. They were total satire. It was meant to be funny. I like Jennifer Tilly. I think she's hilarious. She was in this movie, but the Tiffany doll wasn't. And it does have a really neat ending for you to check out at the end. That was kind of cool in a way. And Brad Dourif was there to portray the voice of Chucky. And he also appeared again as Charles Lee Ray. But there were a couple scenes where it didn't look like Brad Dourif playing Charles Lee Ray. This just wasn't very fun. I gave it a D+. I really hope they don't do any more. What are you going to do? Okay. Hold your breath. Because this one's a stinker. Hold your breath. Or as my understanding is, hashtag hold your breath. Now, I'm not big into Twitter. In fact, I don't even have a Twitter account. For personal reasons, I don't have a Facebook account. So I'm really not into the whole hashtag movement. In fact, I'm not even really sure exactly why the film is called hashtag hold your breath, although I did hear something about it was a film that got started and generated by a hashtag movement on Twitter. So I don't know, but it starts out in 1956 as a brutal serial killer is executed. The execution goes really wrong, and 55 years later, he's back to exact revenge. This is released by the Asylum Studio. I don't know what's keeping that place still in business, but they're the ones that are responsible for the really bad version of War of the Worlds that came out in 2004 on the heels of the Steven Spielberg movie. They make all of these mock blockbuster films that just really suck, including Sharknado. So, I haven't even watched Sharknado yet. I need to. In fact, I thought about watching it and watching the 3 Sharknado films and reviewing them. But I hadn't gotten around to that. Maybe I'll throw in a special review of the Sharknado trilogy. I don't know. But the whole time I was watching this movie, I just kept thinking to myself, God, hold your breath indeed, because it stinks. I found myself wishing that these annoying punks that were in the film would die. So, there you go. I gave it an F. Hated it. Then I watched The Monster Squad from 1987. I had never seen this movie before. A PG-13 family-oriented outing that I liked very much. It brings the classic movie monsters into the modern age of the 1980s. They come in, they travel through time to find a powerful amulet to give them immortality and make them unstoppable. And it's up to this ragtag group of friends who formed their own little club called the Monster Squad to put a stop to them and save the world. There were no real known names in the film, but Tom Noonan, a wonderful character actor who played the first Francis Dollarhide in Manhunter in the 1980s, the first version of Red Dragon, and also played the Reverend Nathaniel Cole in Hell on Wheels on AMC. Great actor, love the guy. He plays Frankenstein's monster in this one, and he's a very good version of Frankenstein monster in it. So I gave this an A-. Reason being is because I thought that the film could have stood to have had some more star power to it. Like, you know, it was 1987, so maybe one of the two Coreys could have been thrown into it, or somebody like that. But still, it's a great film. It's great for families. If you have a family, sit down with them and watch this one. It's a lot of fun. Monster Squad. Then I watched Shrooms from 2007. Can't believe I never saw this one before. I liked it, although I kind of gave it a C- because there were some elements to it I didn't care for too much. But a group of typically rude American kids fly to Ireland, and for apparently no other reason than to meet up with some guy that they knew across from the internet over the pond, they get together and drive out into the countryside to find wild mushrooms and brew them up into a tea and drink them and start hallucinating. The hallucinations, however, begin to go wrong, and things turn really nasty for our group of so-called heroes in the story. The one question that kept going through my mind was, is eating psilocybin in the woods after killing some wild Irish woodsman's dinner with your car a good idea? I don't think so. And also, there was this stoner guy in there, and I swear, I didn't look it up, but I think that he's the same stoner guy that was in Freddy vs. Jason, who was like a real bad knockoff of Jason Mewes. So, I don't know. It might have been him. I have no idea. American Ghost Story was up next, and this was the worst of the whole bunch that I watched. I stopped it after 10 minutes. It was so low budget and so bad, I just couldn't watch it. I gave it an F-. I mean, see, the thing about it is that there should be a charm to low budget. But when it looks worse than porn? Come on. I mean, there's just way too much subpar, low-budget horror crap out there in the world. And this one is just awful. I mean, someone needs to really put a stop to these really low-budget, bad films. However, low-budget can pay off if a filmmaker really cares about what they're doing. Such as the film Contracted from 2013. In it, our friend Samantha ignores her girlfriend for the entire night and goes out for a little bit of a night on the town for herself, and winds up getting together with a guy. Now, there's something really, really upsettingly disturbing about this guy. And after a few moments of stupidity, our friend Samantha winds up contracting the absolute worst STD you could imagine. I give this an A- only because it's definitely shot as a low-budget film, and it's shot on digital camera. I know that digital is cheaper than film, but film just delivers a look you cannot replicate on digital. I would have given Contracted an A+ if it had been shot on film. But there's great character development, good storytelling, the sympathetic victim in Samantha. You hate to see her suffer as badly as she does, but this film is gross and disturbing and graphic. And I've got one word for you, and that word is maggots. Okay? That should say it all right there. In fact, I found out recently that a Contracted Phase 2 is on its way to theaters. Caroline Williams from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, who played Stretch, the disc jockey, the main character in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, is in here as Samantha's mother. So that was a really nice surprise to see her in there. I always enjoy seeing familiar faces in newer films, newer horror films, especially horror fan. You know, as a horror fan, I like to see that. But you know what, girls? When a guy comes to you, and wants to get together with you, just say no, okay? It's a super welcome entry into an unfortunately oversaturated genre. But I like it. I like it a lot. A-. He Knows You're Alone from 1979. A B-plus film, a B film, definitely for sure. That to find out that someone is stabbing brides-to-be and is stalking Amy as she prepares for her wedding, leaving death in their wake. Tom Hanks is in this one. It's a lot of low-budget fun. It was surprising. That was the reason why I picked the film. I was doing some research a few months back. I just swatted a bee away from me. I must smell good to him. I was doing some research a few months back trying to find out what movies I wanted to watch for this. And when I discovered that Tom Hanks was in it, well, that sold me right there. That should sell anybody. Anybody who's a fan of Tom Hanks, you know, they always talk about Tom doing Bachelor Party and how he never talks about it. Well, he also never talks about He Knows You're Alone either. So check that one out. You might like it. I didn't. And then it was on to Black Sunday from 1960. This was a masterfully crafted early Italian giallo vampire film directed by Mario Bava, who directed numerous films in Italy. He started out as a serious dramatic director, as many of the horror directors like Dario Argento and Lucio Fulci did. But he turned to horror, and he delivers a wonderfully crafted vampire film in 1960. The film was heavily censored here in the United States, as most Italian horror films were in those times, but it's been fully restored. It looks wonderful, and has been a major influence on other films, including Friday the 13th Part 2. And several scenes are an exact match, were matched up exactly by Francis Ford Coppola in the 1992 epic Bram Stoker's Dracula. So check out Black Sunday. And I decided to make it a Mario Bava double feature by watching Bay of Blood from 1971. Not quite as good, an all-out gore fest. Definitely one of the precursors to the slasher films that we grew up on in the 1980s. Michael Myers, Jason, and Freddy, of course. It's a good one. Good chaotic horror flick. One worth checking out. I gave it a B-. And then I moved on to Wormwood, Road of the Dead. A 2014 Australian action zombie flick where a girl named Brooke is searching for her mechanic brother in the midst of a zombie outbreak. This is in Australia, so it's an Aussie film. It's a great mix-up of Evil Dead and Dawn of the Dead and Mad Max. There's some great cars. There's a big escape vehicle used in the film. It's pieced together. It looks like something straight out of a Mad Max film. It's worth a watch, and there's a sequel on its way. I gave it an A- because, once again, it was shot on digital and not on film. I would have given it an A+ had it been shot on film. That's just me. I'm an uppity film snob. What can I say? You know, what do you know about that? And finally, the ABCs of Death 2. This came out last year, and it's 26 more shorts about different disturbing ways to die from 26 so-called horror masters. I liked the first one. I liked it a lot better than this one. This one wasn't so good, but I still enjoyed it. It's a B movie. I give it a B minus. I'm still waiting for an ABCs of Horror to be done by 26 real horror masters. Not these wannabes. Now, I'm not saying these wannabes aren't talented. They're talented. But I want to see 26 shorts by Carpenter, Dario Argento, George Romero, Stephen King. Let's get some of these guys into an ABCs of Death film. I'd like that. However, the letters I especially liked in this film were B, E, G, I, N, V, and Z. I especially liked Z. I think that was kind of my favorite one. That B was just ridiculously, hilariously funny. And you'll see why. It's very cartoonish. So anyway, that's my wrap up for the first 2 weeks of October. Come back at the end of the month toward Halloween, and I will have my part 2, and it will be the top 20 favorite films, or film series, or directors. It will all be combined into one. It'll probably be in no particular order. I don't really feel like having to sit down and go, oh gee whiz, number 15 is, oh no wait, number 16, no wait, I want that as number 12. You know, I'm not going to do that. It'll be probably be in no particular order. But I'm going to review some great ones that I'm sure a lot of you will agree are some defining moments in horror. So thanks for joining me for part 1 of Halloween Havoc 2. See you in part 2, the sequel.